Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to another video. If you clicked on this video, then you probably already know that today we are going to be talking about mental health. And I don't know, we're going to kind of touch on like more of my perspective of mental health and my diagnoses, my struggles with that, and kind of how I've overcome them. I think it's just really important to share our experiences and, you know, let each other know you're not alone. Because it really sucks with mental health when you feel very isolated or like people don't understand you, but really there are so many people out there that do, no matter what your struggles are. Let's jump right in and start from the beginning. The beginning, I guess, would be when I first got my mental health diagnosis. So I was 13 when I first got diagnosed with depression and anxiety. I had just gone in for like a regular visit, but at the doctor, sometimes they'll give you those papers and you kind of like grade yourself on your feelings or like how you've been doing lately. Sorry if you hear noises, that's my cat. You get like these sheets, whatever. I filled that out and I didn't do so great on that. I had definitely been experiencing more like depressive thoughts, suicidal thoughts.
How are you doing tonight?
I want to fucking die.
Same.
I'd say I first got suicidal thoughts when I was 12. That was the age I started self harming at. So there was definitely something going on with me. Mental health is definitely a struggle in my family. So I don't know. It's hard, though, I feel like, to recognize that in people at times because, especially kids, we can be very hyper, very happy. I was a very hyper child for sure. But I also had a lot of like listening problems, definitely due to just how I was raised and not necessarily how I was raised, but like things I experienced in my childhood, which kind of played a role into development, of course, because that's just how children work. So, with my first diagnosis, they kind of suggested I go on medication for it. So, my mom wasn't like super all for me going on medicine because she wanted me to do therapy, like try a more natural approach. But at that point, I did not want anything to do with therapy. I don't think I knew how to like identify my emotions well enough. Looking back now, of course, I do wish that I had done therapy earlier on, but I just didn't know enough about it. I don't think. I think the idea of it just scared me. So I decided to go with medicine, and they put me on a low dosage of sertraline. I think it was only 25 milligrams. They usually start you out lower and then kind of work your way up if you need it. So I stayed at 25 milligrams for like I think the whole time I was on it as a teenager. I want to say I only was on it for like a year or a year and a half, and then I stopped because I feel like I stopped taking it probably around 15. I thought I was doing much better, but I ended up not doing very much better not doing it. So I wish I had kind of like just stuck on it. I think throughout teen years, it can be really hard in general because you have all these crazy heightened emotions and you're learning so much about yourself and the world and you're thinking about college and what you want to do as an adult. So you already have just so much pressure on you. And I don't know, I didn't really like the idea of staying on medicine forever. So I really tried to get off of it. But yeah, I, when I was on it, it definitely helped my symptoms. The only downsides I remember when first starting it was that it made me have really terrible stomach pains, and I already had a lot of stomach problems, so that was not a fun time at all. But I would say they got a lot better within like 2 weeks. It's just that initial like period of getting your body's getting used to the new medication. So that was a downside. And I also used to have very wild dreams, probably for like the first couple of months when I first started it. I don't know why, but I would just dream very odd things and they would feel very vivid, and that had never really happened to me in life. So I don't know. I just want to like put a disclaimer out in this video that if you try something that I'm saying that I've tried and it doesn't work for you, or I mean, it could work for you, but if it doesn't, just kind of like know that's totally fine. Mental health is something different for so many people, and yeah, that can just look different in everyone. We all have different remedies that help us. No, like one shoe is going to fit everyone. So just know that it's okay if something doesn't work for you. Just keep trying. Like, different things work for different people. Yeah, those are some things that like you can experience. There's definitely more. Like a doctor would go over that with you for any medication that you might start, but I did find medication useful. So when I stopped it, I had instead started therapy. I initially got introduced to like kind of therapy when I was in high school as a sophomore, probably about 15 or 16 years old. I was first introduced to it. There was a teacher that I had previously known from my middle school that had decided she wanted to become a therapist. So basically, she was just helping people who were having, like, your typical problems as a high schooler, but also people who were having problems at home a little bit. And um, I love my family and everything, but we definitely had struggles throughout my life, as any family does. So she kind of took an interest in me. She knew I was going through a lot, and she kind of like introduced me to the therapy world. She like did counseling with me more so once a week, and then she referred me to the person she was like working with to get her clinical hours done. So that's when I initially started seeing like a licensed mental health professional. That was I was 15, but I was almost 16 by this point. That was my first time ever doing therapy, and I hit it off initially with my therapist, which that might not happen for everyone. Sometimes you might meet a therapist and you just don't feel like they are the one for you, and that is totally fine. Just like we don't get along with everyone that we're ever going to meet, the same thing is with therapy. You're not going to like every therapist you ever meet, and that's totally fine. I just got lucky, and my first therapist happened to be my therapist just for years. So I worked with him doing just cognitive behavioral therapy, which is like just more of talk therapy. And like he really helped me learn to identify emotions, because that was a huge struggle I had as a teenager, was that I would either feel like super numb, or I just wouldn't know what the hell I was feeling. And it was really hard for me to say, like, oh, I'm just feeling sad or I'm feeling mad. So that's probably the hardest thing to overcome, and he really helped me with that. I think that there's often like this thought of therapy that it will just magically fix all your problems, but I don't think that that's what it is. It's kind of just, it teaches you a lot about yourself. It teaches you how to talk about your emotions in a more healthy manner. And yeah, that's at least what it did for me. If therapy just doesn't like, if therapy hasn't worked for you in the past, that's totally fine. Not everyone is like, therapy's not for everyone. I did therapy for the rest of high school and a little bit out of high school. I would say I found it overall very helpful. My junior and senior year of high school, and so no, my junior and senior year of high school had become even more difficult for me than previous years, and I was skipping a lot of school. So I had done even more therapy sessions a week. That can sometimes happen. Like, they might want to see you a little more frequently if they're more worried about you. I was having way more suicidal thoughts, especially my senior year of high school. I think it was just really messing with me, for one, that I never thought I was going to make it that far. So I really hadn't thought about my future a whole lot. And like, my family was going through a lot with divorce and whatnot, which can be a very big change in everyone's life. So there was just a lot going on. And that was around like 18. And it's hard as a teenager thinking about what comes next, and like you're becoming an adult and moving on your own. Like, that's super scary as is. So I definitely struggled with that. And, then COVID hit, which was a huge struggle for everyone. It, it faced everyone with a lot of isolation. And that came at a time where I was trying very hard to work on not isolating myself, because one of my struggles with anxiety is just the social aspect. I was always worrying about what people thought of me, or, would I say or do the wrong thing? And it took a lot of, again, practice in therapy and just practice in the real world of, just talking to people. I think getting a job was one way that really helped me as a teenager. It forced me to talk to people, and people I didn't know, or people I wouldn't have ever interacted with had it not been for work. So I think that is something that really helped with social anxiety. It's just like pushing myself out of my comfort zone and just making myself practice talking. And that's a huge part of why I started YouTube, was because I don't know, it's scary like sharing your life sometimes with a bunch of strangers, and that's literally exactly what YouTube is. So I think one thing that has really helped me overall is just pushing myself out of my comfort zone, admitting that I need help with certain things, getting help, whether that's medication, through therapy, just trying new things. I started going to the gym and working out. That helps raise, like, is it dopamine or serotonin that raises? It helps raise good, happy, mood boosting things in your body. So that can always be good. And just going out and living. Like, I used to really have a problem with just sitting in my room all the time. And, oh, eh.
Hi.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to have a huge problem with just self-isolating myself all the time. I didn't want to talk to people. I would just like play video games all the time and not really do a whole lot. So I've gotten a lot better about actually going out into the real world and really living and enjoying every moment for what it has to offer, because, you know, only seeing 4 rooms or like 4 walls in a bedroom is not going to help you in life. So go out there, live, feel the grass in your toes, you know, the sand between your toes. Too many toe references. Blah, blah. What do you think, Enzo? This is Enzo. Enzo helps a lot with mental health, so we're gonna let him be featured in this video. Yeah, Enzo's a big contributor as well. Animals help great for, especially I'd say anxiety. Like, they just crawl up on you. They know when something's wrong. You're upset. I promise, your cat is right there. Unless you have a very independent cat, in which I'm sorry, I've had those before too. But I don't know, if your anxiety is really bad, consider a service animal. There's so many factors that you could try to like help ease depression and anxiety symptoms. So, you know, whatever there is out there, just keep trying, guys. Know that you're not alone. You know, maybe share in the comments what you have done to try and help yourself, or things on your mind lately. I think social media is a really good way to connect with people. So yeah, overall, thanks for watching this video. Hopefully I helped you guys, you know, hopefully you guys found some common ground in here, or, you know, are willing to try something new. Have a good day.